Welcome everyone coming in to the intro for deepening connection with life. Here we are, all arriving together. I'm going to play this video and ask people to notice how you're feeling as you watch this video, and to feel your body and to rest into being more fully present with yourself as you arrive here with others. So just take in the sounds and the sights and notice what you're feeling as we have others joining us. And I'm going to ask everyone to stay on mute right now. So hi everyone who's here. Welcome once again to the Deepening Connection with Life. This is the intro course, our intro class. I'm Hillary Lake and I'm here with Will Michael, and we're so excited and grateful that you're joining us tonight. So thanks for taking some time to check this out and get a little taste and learn more about what we're doing here, and to see if you want to join us for the 5-week journey as well. So I'm just gonna get myself situated and invite Will to come on as well and to share a little bit with me as well. I want to start and to say you can come on and off your video as you want. It's great to see people, and it's your choice, especially with the intro. We're going to do a bunch of talking, unfortunately, at you. We're going to share a little bit of a PowerPoint as well. And we also invite you to share with others in this space through the chat. So if you could put your, obviously your name is on your face, so you don't have to do that again if you don't want to, but to put your location and the name of the indigenous peoples of the land where you are, and if you don't know them, there's a great website that is native-lands.ca, and I'll put that and the prompts in the chat. And as well as your pronouns in the chat too, just so everyone knows. Yeah. And just to let you know what we're going to do, we're going to do a little bit of a grounding and land acknowledgement so that we're more present together. And then we'll go do an overview of the course and share about our intentions for this work. Then we're going to do a flow of the practice, look at different aspects of the practice and guidelines with the PowerPoint. And then we're going to actually do the practice, which is probably why you're here too. And then we'll have some Q&A and closing. And that will all happen in an hour. So we've got a full hour here with you all. And of course, if you have questions, you're welcome to put them in the chat. I might miss them initially, but I'll get back to them by the end. But if you don't want to forget it, make sure to put it in the chat. All right. Anything you want to add to any of that, Will?
Just to say hello to everybody and welcome you all. And I look forward to giving you a little bit of a direction before we start the practice. And just want to make the point that the practice, both of the breathwork and the movement, are oriented in a way that gives you a taste for and gives you a sort of a format, but I encourage you to use it and to play with it and to extend it any way you like in your own day-to-day practice. And tonight is about just getting a feel for things, so we're not going to spend a whole lot of time explaining things. We're focusing more on the experience, and so that will be mostly guided as we go. So Hillary will do most of the introduction. I'll spend a little time talking about the breathwork orientation, and hopefully you'll enjoy yourself and have some fun exploring your body and experiences breathwork brings you. Nice to see everybody here.
Thanks, Will. Yeah, and I'll share that usually I'm in northern Michigan, in Petoskey, which is on the lake, the shores of Lake Michigan, Kichigami, Michiganing, where it's the Anishinaabe people, specifically the Odawa band. And right now I'm actually in Shutesbury, Massachusetts. And this is in western Massachusetts, the land of the Pecumtuck and the Nipmunk, mostly. So I'm visiting friends out here right now. So you'll see a different background most of the time. All right, so let's get a little grounded together. We are going to focus on the element of earth today for our intro and just give you a taste. But we always start with earth, and we always start with a grounding and a land acknowledgement to help us to become more aware and more present with ourselves and where we are. So I invite you to get comfortable and to close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing that. It's always an invitation. So honoring your body and what feels good to you in this moment. You can also just lower your eyes too. I invite you to feel your sits bones on the chair or whatever you're sitting on, and to feel your feet on the ground, and to feel the bones of your pelvis and the bones in your feet, connecting into the solidity of the support, both within you and that which holds you. And so I invite you to breathe into your bones and out through your bones, through the connection to the floor and to the earth beneath the floor. And to stay with this breathing pattern of receiving support from within on the in-breath and resting into that support on the earth. So continuing to breathe in and feel the inner support and to allow any movement as well that wants to happen. And allow for a deeper exhale into relaxing more fully, into support. And then also to become aware of the connections between the bones, these places of the joints where we have ligaments, and to be curious about growing some of those ligaments down into the earth as well. And so allowing your body to explore the places in between with movement and breath and awareness, growing roots down deeper and deeper into the land where we are, honoring the original first peoples of this land, honoring that they have created and are creating culture through their relationship to the land, and that their beings are inseparable from the land. And honoring that we are cultivating our own relationship to the land where we are, and co-creating our own culture as well. Honoring the process that we are going through individually and collectively, as well as the process that people have gone through on this land and the lands where we are for millenniums. Also honoring the harm that has been done on these lands and that is held in the soils and in the rocks, as well as the harm that's held within ourselves. And being gentle, being tender, honoring our own limits, and acknowledging that we have choice in any moment of how we relate to whatever we find within ourselves or wherever we are. Bringing that tenderness, that gentleness, and whatever openness we have available to us in each moment. And breathing into whatever space we can find within, still connecting to our bones and to our ligaments, our joints. And breathing out whatever we're ready to release. And slowly, tenderly transitioning our attention back into the shared space together through our awareness of the space that we are in. And also seeing each other. Great. So, Will and I are going to share a little bit more now about what is this practice and why do we do it and what is it good for? Why do we share this? And I'll start out to say that I am inspired by many teachers, and my main teachers are from the body-mind centering lineage that was initially created by Bonnie Bainbridge Cohen, which is a somatic practice connecting to the body systems. And I was taught by Christine Cole, who created Somatic Body, who's a longtime student of Bonnie's. And then also of my own Buddhist practice, longtime Buddhist practice of 20 years, specifically of the Thai forest tradition from the Theravada lineage, and of Tibetan Buddhism. And that those practices continually inspire me and help me to connect to myself and to the land where I am, and to resource. And also everywhere I've been has taught me and becomes a part of this practice too. And so I invite that for us all, to deepen our relationship to ourselves and to our own spiritual lineages, whatever those might be, as well as to the land where we are and the elements that we meet and anywhere that we go. That every being is a teacher. Yeah, so this is a really huge time of transformation that we are in and have been in and will continue to be in. And what I notice that helps me is to stay connected to my body and to stay connected to the land where I am and to those elements within and around. and it's always a practice. And it's always a practice of reconnecting and remembering, of putting the pieces back together, and to cultivate reciprocal relationships with all the beings around me, even the inanimate ones. And so this work is about honoring our connections or all our relationships, and many indigenous traditions also honor that. And so I've been a student as well of indigenous traditions of Turtle Island, and am grateful for what I have learned from indigenous people, and I do my best to honor them and to honor the lands where I go and the indigenous people too. So we brought this together. I've been doing this work for about 10 years and putting together the pieces of the body systems with the earth systems through the elements. And so people might have different ideas about what actually that might mean or what elements go with what. And this is what works for me, and I'm really open to conversation about that too. So for me, it helps me to just feel and to be with what is, and to access the medicine inside of me to bring forward as a resource to cultivate more resiliency and regenerativity, and to navigate whatever arises and the complexity of our lives, which the intellect can't fully understand. So I come to the body as much as I can, and helps me to navigate what is arising and to be more fully present with it all and compassionate with it all. And this even helped us to heal through COVID as well this past spring. And we both really believe, I'll let Will speak for himself too, but that these practices can help healing to happen more actively and more easily as well, and to welcome whatever is present to be learned from. So we're giving you a little bit of a scaffolding for how to relate to the systems of the body and the elements, the body and the energies and the elements of the earth systems and the breath. So I'm gonna let Will take it away from here.
Okay, thank you, Hillary. Well, the thing that I want to kind of talk about is how I've learned, and I know that through the college, there's been an emphasis on doing what we do from the perspective of stress management. And to me, the process of stress management has everything to do with managing your own personal energy, the energy system in your body, and the nervous system. And I've been working with breath work for going on 51 years, starting with pranayama in my first yoga training, and then exploring a lot of body mind and meditation practices and hypnotherapy, and along the line having teachers like Leonard Orr and Stanislav Grof, some of the people that moved breathwork forward over the years, and more recently Dan Brule and Niraj Nayak. All the people are doing current, really active work with breathwork, and have integrated a lot of science with it all. And now I see it as breathwork essentially is energy management, and energy management is stress management, and knowing how to regulate the body-mind system, and the techniques that we're learning and have backing within science have allowed us to understand ways to breathe that are both going to relax the body, energize the body, calm the body, bring the body into coherence, some simple basic principles. And the practice we're going to do tonight is going to give you a small taste of that. We're going to practice like 3 or 4 integrated techniques, and I'll explain them more as we do it. Like I said originally, that my focus tonight is to more let you experience the experience rather than get caught up with a lot of explanation. But the one thing about any form of breath work is that it accomplishes, and we're talking conscious breath work, conscious breathing, is that it accomplishes very important things, much of which meditation also strives for, and that is, with conscious breathing, you're automatically in your body, in the moment, and your logical, rational mind has been given a task to do, and that task is to monitor and consciously breathe so that it essentially stops the mind from thinking or moving from the future or the past. In other words, you're in the present moment, in your body, and centered where you need to be. And that's why the movement and the breath work is such a beautiful complement to one another. So that's really all I need to say, I think, now. But it'll make it much more sense in a real sensory way when we actually do the work. So.
Yeah, thank you, Will. So I'm gonna mute you because I'm getting some feedback. There we go. So I'm gonna get into the uh, PowerPoint so that we can look a little bit more at this. So here we are. This is the Deepening Connection with Life class, and that we will be doing on Wednesdays, 7 to 9 p.m., starting next week, October 6th through November 3rd. And this is a chart of the allies that we are working with. So as you see on the far left, those are the elements. And we work with 5 different elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And then the body allies that go with those elements. And so I'm not going to read through every single one, but you can see we've started with earth, and we're working with the bones, connective tissue, and also the marrow is a part of that too. And then that relates to the rocks in the earth, the stones, the trees, the plants, the roots of the plants, and the magma inside the center of the earth as well. That corresponds with the marrow. And so there are body allies that correlate to the earth allies, and that really we are the earth. Our bodies are not separate, and that is the, I can't say because I'm not an indigenous person, although through my studies, that's what indigenous people experience, an inseparable relationship with the land and with the earth. And so how can we come back to some of that, to a taste of that, and to, in a sense, re-indigenize ourselves as much as possible? So this is a mindfulness practice, an awareness practice that helps us to feel into that and explore into that possibility, and seeing how, fire, well, we don't really have fire in the body, do we? But we have a digestive system that has these powerful digestive enzymes that build heat in the body, in the belly, and that our nervous system has electrical impulses that move through, and the endocrine system has this energy that can feel electric sometimes. So I relate that to fire, and that can then be related to the sun, the stars, the fire that we build, and the mycelial network in the earth that, through research, we're now discovering is more and more like the nervous system than we ever thought before of our own bodies. And so there's a lot of fascinating research that's coming out about that right now, and excited to be listening to a book about that I highly recommend as well, called Untangled Life, too, by Merlin Shendrick, if you're curious. And then like I said, I won't say all of them. You can read them yourself, but ether is a tricky one. Some people are like, well, what does that mean? And we're going to be working with the cerebral spinal fluid that comes out of the ventricles in the center of the brain, and also the nervous system and glandular integration. So feeling that as a full integrated experience with spirit. And we can't necessarily grasp that, right? It's more of an experience of allowing that integration, and that's a process of building. So each week we are actually building on this. First week we start with earth, and then we do earth, water. Then the third week it's earth, water, fire, and then earth, water, fire, air, and then we get to ether, and it's all of the elements together. So, and the pictures can give you a little bit of a sense of how these relationships work with each other too, and the similarities between the pictures of the body and the pictures of the earth. And then there's also lessons and practices that go along with these elements too, and the elements of the systems of the body. So with earth, we're working with security and discovering our needs. And then those practices are cultivating structure, cultivating stability, simplicity, nourishment. And then water, safety, and cultivating trust. And that's about finding flow and release and rhythm, and how to work with emotion or energy in motion. And then fire, we're working with sovereignty and activating aliveness in our lives. And that's working with the practices of presence, passion, and power. And air, we learn about co-creation and joyful collaboration with others. And that practice is inviting in spaciousness, communication, and the expansion that allows. And then lastly, ideally, we get to an exploration of what is the union between bliss and emptiness. And this is a practice from my own Tibetan Buddhist practice. And we can get there through wonder, envisioning, and surrendering as well. And that this emptiness and bliss can also relate to the experience of yin and yang. And that's it's a little bit more spiritual when we get there. And there's no expectation for what people might experience. It is more of a scaffolding and an opportunity to invite curiosity into that and what's possible for us. And that these are our guidelines that we work with throughout our time together, just so that you know that ideally this is a safe as possible place to explore these things together. And so when I say safe, and we'll talk about that during the water week, but safety is really about being able to be courageous, to take the risk to be ourselves. And within that, we need to practice respect of ourselves and of others. So R is taking responsibility for what one feels and says without blaming others, taking care of ourselves and being an inquiry about our own needs. And then using empathic listening with ourselves and others, being sensitive to differences in communication and cultural styles as well, and pondering what we hear and feel before we speak, ideally from the heart as much as possible. And then examining our own assumptions and perceptions to check ourselves and to keep confidentiality so that we're not sharing what anyone else is sharing in the space, and that we can share our own experience with others, just not others. And if we want to talk with someone maybe outside of this space about what comes up here, if we know them, maybe we ask them, is it okay if I address something that you brought up in class the other night? So that's a kind of a high level of confidentiality. And then to tolerate ambiguity, that there's no right or wrong, and that this is really an opportunity to be with the not knowing and to follow the feelings instead of the mind, to honor our limits and our body as well. And so as it says, if you have any questions about any of this, you can ask in the chat. We'll answer at the end, and you can also reach out to Will and or I via email afterwards too. And I think most of you got our email when I sent out this link, but if not, feel free to ask, and I will put that in the chat. And then the flow of the sessions will look the same each week. So there's an arrival, like we had today, and then grounding and centering in space and the land acknowledgement. Then a brief, well, we didn't do the brief check-in today, but we would normally do that. Then a brief intro about the session. And then we do the somatic movement guided piece, about 20 to 25 minutes. And then breath work, that's about 10 to 15 minutes. And then a group sharing, about 20 to 30 minutes. And then we'll talk briefly about what could be a possible personal practice with nature. And then a closing song. And there's a little bit of fudge room there. Of course, it's not exactly like that every week. Okay. So we're going to get into the practice now. And I'm going to invite you to find a space that feels good for you to lie down, ideally. I can see some of you are already really close to that. And I'm going to get on the ground myself. And whatever you need, if you want a blanket or pillows or anything that makes it really cozy for you. And we'll be lying down for about 20 minutes. So we'll do 10 minutes of somatic movement, mostly internal work, and then we'll do breath work for 10 minutes as well. And this is really about finding your own guidance and your own inner experience. And so anything that I say that doesn't resonate with you, just allow it to wash over you, and you can just put that aside. It's not for you then. And honor your own knowing, because that is the intention. All right, so I'm going to move, and Will's going to share a little bit with you.
Just a couple of quick things about the breath work. When we're doing this breathing, the idea is to basically, in terms of form, the idea is to breathe from and into the belly. In other words, the idea is to think of it as like filling a glass of water. You fill your lungs from the bottom up. And many of us may find that we'll have to kind of focus on that and maybe take a few breaths to get into the belly and the pelvic bowl. But the idea is to then breathe in through the nose, into the belly, and let the breath fill upward toward the chest and shoulders, and then let it go through your mouth. That's a simple thing. And the other thing I want to point out is we're doing a connected breath. So when we're doing the various practices, we're going to start the inhale, and as soon as the inhale is done, we're going to start the exhale. Just keep the breath connected, which also keeps your mind focused. So that's the only thing I want to say at this point. The rest of it I'll guide you through later.
Okay, great. Thanks, Will. So you can keep your video on or off. It's up to you. And I'm going to drop into the practice just as deeply as anyone else, because that helps to give us all a sense of being in it together, of course. So get comfortable and we'll drop in. So laying down and feeling into our bones again as we're settling in to our bodies. Breathing into those points of connection with the floor or whatever we're lying on. Feeling the bones holding us, supporting us as we breathe into them, and breathing out through the bones, allowing us to settle and rest into support. Breathing in, breathing into support inside of ourselves, and breathing out, surrendering into support outside. And allowing any movement to happen that helps you to feel into the bones and into a alignment that feels most comfortable, most generative to you. Allowing the exhale to rest you more fully into the support of the floor and of the earth and of the stones and the rocks beneath you. Feeling how connected you are. How supported you are. How held you are. And then also inviting in curiosity between the bones, in the joints. Allowing the body to move and shift to explore those connection points, especially in the hips, in the pelvis, and in the shoulders, and in the neck. So bringing in movement and awareness, breath, and even sounding and touch to explore these points of connection between the bones. Acknowledging that deep exhales and sighs also support us to rest in more fully to what is and to release more fully as well. And so allowing the body to explore whatever places of tension and tightness there are. Breathing into the tight ligaments and creating more space with each exhale. Maybe that's bringing in a twist, or maybe it's bringing in a stretch with an arm or a leg. Following your own body's intuition in any forms that you may have studied or explored previously. Maybe yoga. And allowing the body to be your guide as you grow these roots down into the earth. Rooting into the nourishment below. And exploring how can you feel more connected with each movement and each breath. Maybe you're wanting to bring your knees into your chest and do a little rocking side to side or forward and back. Acknowledging that the ligaments are what connect bone to bone throughout the whole body, and that they are like the roots connecting tree limbs to the earth. And so allowing those ligaments to stretch and grow both physically and energetically down into the earth and into the center of the earth as well. All the way in to the core of the earth, into that molten magma lava that is also connected to the marrow in the center of our bones. So So I invite you to be curious about how connecting to the marrow in your bones can help you feel connected to this earth and to the core of the earth. Connecting the core of your own body to the core of the earth with curiosity, with breath, honoring that the blood of our ancestors is in our bones and is being recreated each moment as new blood, and that there are millions of new blood cells emerging from our bones each minute, just like there's new earth emerging from the center of the earth as that lava that is creating new possibilities for life. So how are you exploring new possibilities for life in your own life? What needs do you have that you are opening to and exploring? How do you want to explore fulfilling those needs? What does that look like to you? What could that feel like? What could that sound like? Envision that as much as possible as you keep exploring movement and staying with the bones and with the connective tissues, especially the ligaments. Allowing your imagination to guide you as well as your feeling sensation. Noticing what feels nourishing to you and breathing into that and breathing it into your body. And moving that around your body as well. How can you honor and fulfill whatever needs you have in this moment with your movement, with touch, with breath, with sound, and with simply being who you are. And then we're going to transition to having Will guide us in some breath work. So you can stay laying down.
Okay, just allow yourself to settle in and drop into your body and surrender to that gentle pull of gravity, and let yourself stay connected to the feelings of the connected tissue in your bones. And these first 3 breaths, I'm going to ask you to inhale through your nose, inhaling fully as possible, focusing primarily on inhaling into the upper lung and expanding your lungs out into your body. We call this a balloon breath. So you're filling your lungs down and up, but you're filling tight entirely so that you can feel your lungs pressing out against your physical body, out against and into the bones, into the ribs, up into the shoulders. And then slowly, as you exhale through your mouth, allow yourself to exhale with a humming sound. And just let it be a very soothing, slow exhale. Once you've completed the exhale, start another slow inhale, again filling the lungs, but this time focusing more in the belly and the pelvic bowl, in the lower back, breathing into and pressing out against the spine, into the pelvic bones, into the ribs, feeling the ribs moving out as you hold that breath out, fill your lungs. And then once again, when you're ready, slowly exhaling with a humming sound. Just allow yourself to feel the vibration of the hum as it soothes your entire vagus nerve from head to your belly, to the Hara chakra. And then once that exhale is completed, just a final full balloon breath, filling the lungs once again, pressing out in every direction. Feeling the limits of what your lungs can expand into and into the physicalness of your body. And then once more with a long, slow, soothing humming sound, exhaling. So your lungs are empty. And then just allow yourself to begin a 5-count inhale, and I'll count with you in a moment. And I'll count with you on the exhale. So we'll start now with in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just keep that pace going, whether you count or just approximate. And these inhales and exhales do not need to be as broad and full as the balloon breath. They should be about 80%, so that you can let the inhale and exhale just kind of move freely between one another, between and within your body and your heart space. And this equal, basically 6 breaths per minute, is the perfect pace for creating a heart, brain, and microbiome coherence. Also known to synchronize yourself with the vibration, coherence with the earth vibration. Keeping the breath connected, the inhale connects with the exhale. And simply feeling the freedom of movement, breathing freely and comfortably as you pace out the inhale and exhale. And one last 5 count in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to just allow yourself to breathe normally for a couple of breaths. Just let your breath be guided by your own feeling of leading the pace and getting control. Just what feels comfortable as we contemplate moving into a little more rapid breath. This breath is going to be a 2-4 breath. So when you're ready, we're going to go in, 2, out, 2, 3, 4. 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 One more. In, 2, out, 2, 3, 4. And now we're going to do a 1-2 count. So it's going to be in, out, 2, in, out, 2, in, out, 2, in, out, 2, in, out, 2. Just keep that pace going. Allow yourself to feel the change, to feel the charge of the inhale and the discharge of the exhale. Keep that pace moving. Allow yourself to feel the inhale, giving life to your personal intentions, your personal goals, your personal movement and aliveness, and the exhale being a releasing, a letting go of whatever you feel you're ready to leave and to let go of. Keep that pace moving. Keep the inhale connected to the exhale. Feeling the changes in your body system, the changes in perhaps temperature or tingling or sensations in the body. Feeling the effects of the charge of the inhale and the more rapid pace of the breath. And when you're ready, take the next breath fully in, and then exhale fully out, and just pause the breath. Just relax into a state of non-breathing, just being conscious and experiencing the experience in your body, feeling what you feel, feeling the energy moving around your body, feeling where it is more intense. If there's any parts of your body that feel uncomfortable or painful or tense, you might even direct and focus your attention on those areas while your breath is paused and let that energy focus there. And you can begin to breathe whenever you feel you need to or want to, but there is a value into extending it as long as you're comfortable and feel able. And then feel free to just follow your own guidance. When you're ready to breathe, just begin a nice slow process of inhaling very slowly at your own pace and exhaling very slowly. Take a moment to experience the silence as you breathe very slowly in, as deep and full as you like, then very slowly out. Continue to observe the experience in your body as you do, but also become aware of beginning to breathe normally again, Once you feel comfortable and feel focused and centered and in control of your breath, you begin to set an intention to maybe roll to one side and begin to sit up, very much with a sense of awareness of being in control of your body and ready to move intentionally back to your screen. Eventually move back there, and we'll kind of proceed from there.
Thank you, Elle. That was really nourishing. So inviting us, if we feel called, to come onto the screen, put on our video, if that feels good to us. And if there's any questions or any feedback, this is definitely the time for that. Also just reminding us that there is some more information, but pretty much everything that I shared tonight is already covered on my website. And I'll put that link as well as the link to register into the chat. So Chelsea, that answers your question of how to sign up for the 5-week course. That link right there that says register here, you can go there and register. And I believe that's open up until the 6th, or even maybe on the 6th up until the class to register. We also have a coffee chat coming up on October 1st, this Friday at 10 a.m. If people want to learn more about Will and I and our journeys and why we do this, it's a bit of an interview between us, and then we do pretty much the same practice. Okay. Oh, everyone in the waiting room. Sorry. Everyone in the meeting is where I want to send that link. There we go. Thanks, Chelsea. So, yeah. And you're welcome to come up with mute as well if there's anything that you want to share.
I just want to say thank you guys so much for sharing this practice. It's really timely, especially for this season. And I'm just really grateful. It's brought a lot of medicine, and I'm looking forward to meeting with you guys more. And just thanks for taking such like tender care in your land acknowledgement and your community guidelines. It's just something I really appreciate seeing more and more of in Northern Michigan, especially.
Oh, you're so welcome. Yeah, it's been a practice, you know. It takes a while to learn all these things, and it's important. So I appreciate that feedback.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Yeah, and
Anybody
also
else?
I'm putting a link for the coffee chat also into the chat if people are interested in that. But we pretty much do the same thing that we did here. But we can answer more questions, and just another opportunity to connect.
I have one more quick question. On the I'm looking at the NMC page with all the courses on it. And then what is this course actually titled, the 5-week course?
It is called Deepening Connection, Deepening Your Connection with Life.
Oh, great. Okay. I just wanted to, it's like there's so many, and I just wanted to make sure I found the right one.
Yeah, yep. I'm sorry. We used to call this class just Deepening Connection. So I forgot to put the your in the title um,
Um,
for our thing tonight. But yes, um, it is Deepening Your Connection with Life. There are lots of classes, and I'm sure many good ones out there.
I actually might have already signed up for this, but I'll double check. Thank you guys both so much. And yeah.
Thank you again. If there aren't any more questions, I just wanted to say, I usually say this earlier, but share a little bit of my experience with working with Hillary and the movement piece and the somatic awareness and the elements. Because I think I represent a lot of men in terms of getting in touch with ourselves, our bodies, our emotions, our feelings. And I feel like, in addition to the breath work, which I've done for a long time, the piece of really integrating the elements and really feeling and experiencing in our bodies, it's like you start to live your life from the inside out. And especially if you tend to be conditioned to thinking your way through life, it's a whole different perspective. And it's a very refreshing, but very kind of exciting and adventurous in the sense of, because I found that, at least my experience has been that I have awakened to a lot of feelings in a real physical, somatic way, that really inform me and also empower me to become not have more mastery of my emotions, but also learning, because they can be so intense, how to transmute that energy in a useful way, in ways that can then foster growth and motivate activity and my own my own need to teach it, but also just in my own life experiences, of having more of an experience, a physically somatic based experience of everything. And I can only say it's just a wonderful, refreshing place to be living from, and it's hard to explain. I often explain it by recognizing that by integrating these elements in the way that it happens in this course, is that you become like the sixth element. You realize that the earth and the air and the fire and the ether and the water are all part of you, and you're also a natural force that's kind of expressing all that. And it has just an interesting way of impersonalizing, but at the same time making you more real in some ways.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's been my experience too, over the years. And I've been doing this for a while, and it is simply a practice that we can begin to cultivate any time. And it's more simple than we think and more complex, probably, than we think too. Um, so, yeah, we're available if you have questions. You probably got our email, but I'll also put my email in the chat for those of you who are still around. And my website is movingingrace.com. And we look forward to seeing those of you who choose to join us for this 5-week journey. All right. And I just want to close by taking a moment to acknowledge. We can close our eyes if that feels comfortable and bring our attention inward, acknowledging our own bodies, acknowledging ourselves for showing up tonight, as well as acknowledging the ancestors of the land where we are, the indigenous first peoples of that land, and also acknowledging our own indigenous ancestors and all the beings who have supported us to be where we are. May we awaken to this natural greatness of being so that we may help all beings awaken to this natural greatness of being together. Blessed be. All right. Well, take good care, everyone, and maybe we'll see you next week.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, Hillary.
Thank you, Will.